Okay, so in the previous video you saw me doing a screen recording of the printing and sending these to print. I've got all my layers. Right now only the background is turned on, so there's the first film positive, and I printed that on regular paper. So before I print onto the vellum that I have to pay $1/4 a piece for, I'm going to take this regular paper and go to the light table. So here is my mock-up with the drawing, and I'm going to set that on there and use the light coming through just to make sure that my size is exactly as I intended it. And yes, everything looks good. So nothing got screwy. Nothing got terribly screwy in the sizing. So because that looks good, now I can come back. I can open up this sheet feeder. The default is it's like that. So I'm going to open it like this. I'm going to pull this out and then flip that. And that's what I'm going to use to load the vellum as opposed to the paper. Now the vellum lives right there. This is the 25 cents per sheet laser vellum from these boxes right here. Beneath it is tabloid mylar. This is a slightly better quality film positive, but this is $1 a sheet, and the vellum is 25 cents a sheet. For this project, you are served plenty well by the vellum, so I would recommend using that. The mylar is better for higher quality stuff that isn't really necessary right now. Now I'm going to open a new box, so I'm going to set the camera down for a second to do that. Alright, so now I have an open box sitting on top. I'm going to take, I generally should probably just take one sheet at a time if I'm going to be printing on regular paper between film positives. Now notice that there's that little arm right back there. I need to make sure that the sheet is pushing that little arm in so that the printer knows that there is a sheet of paper in the manual sheet feeder, so that when I go to print, I think I hit the wrong one there. So these are the same default settings that I had a moment ago. It went to print one copy because I accidentally hit the wrong thing. As it was, that works. Lucky me, because I didn't need the crosshairs or anything like that. So again, to make sure everything is hunky-dory, I should come to the light table and double check it. You should be a little paranoid in printing the digital films, just to make sure that nothing about the dimension or registration goes off along the way, because it happens really easily. Notice that there's no way to use the registration holes with digital films. Now when I go to screen print, my good paper will have the holes. So after that, in terms of setting registration on the Artex, that's all the same. It's just that I can't physically take this film and put it on top of there, because if I go punch the holes now, there's no guarantee the holes will have the same distance to this. Also, if I punched the holes before I printed it and put it into the laser printer, there wouldn't be any guarantee. So with digital films, I cannot have the benefit of using the registration holes in the actual film. But that one looks good. So then I'm ready to go back and do another. So I can turn that layer off. Oops. Turn that layer off. And the tag outlet, there's just those two little elements for spot color. I should print this on regular paper first, double check it, which I've already done. And so I'm going to go ahead and put a vellum in. I want to treat the vellum carefully. I don't want it creased. Okay. The defaults are the same, so I can just hit print. And I'll get that vellum. And then I would do the same with all the other ones that I have. So I would do the same with what is the paper color. And finally, I would do my halftone photograph as a halftone. Once I have those 4 films, those will be my digital films. And the remaining films for this print, I will do as analog films to really retain the drawing style. But having printed this vellum, I should come over here and make sure that they are aligning the way I want them to. And it looks like maybe my trap was a little inadequate. I think I'm going to make a judgment call that I will be able to cover that up with line art at the end, which is one of the reasons I'm going to draw. See, that's pretty close. I need to keep moving it a tiny bit. It's really hard to move while holding the camera, but that's pretty close. So my trap could have been a little bit better. You know, it could be that what I should do is go back to the digital file now, grow those 2 areas slightly, and then reprint it. Or if I use this actual vellum film positive, I have to remember that when I draw the analog line art that is going to finish this print, I need to make sure that line art is going to cover those inadequacies. I'm going to choose the latter on this case, but that will vary according to what the individual images are that you're working with. So I would do that with each layer, printing on vellum with each one. I'm going to go ahead and jump to the halftone photograph so that you see that. I'm going to grab one more vellum. I'm going to be careful pulling it out. No dog ears, no bent. Okay. See, it's processing the info. Nice. Okay. So this too, I can set on there. Make sure my registration and alignment and sizing is looking good. I like the way it looks in the video format. It has a kind of a weird glow to it. But yeah, that's looking good. Looks like it's going to work well. Okay, so I would print out each of the vellums, and then I am ready to start burning screens.